start the fight, breaking down the walls in the dead of night. I don't come for peace, I come for the storm. Fanboys melt quick when the truth gets warm. Saw content's high, I'm collecting those tears. Just got started, but I'm cutting through fears. I'm not here for brand deals, I'm not for sale. I expose your lies, rip off the veil.
The situation with Pokémon Unite shutting down in Belgium and the Netherlands is exactly why I've been beating the same drum for a while about digital-only gaming and mobile gaming culture. But before I get into it, please hit the like button and the hype button as well. It really helps out small channels like mine to be able to stand up to the greedy corporations and the toxic influencers. I don't play mobile games because in my view, the majority of them are trash. They aren't designed around artistic vision, meaningful gameplay, or long-term value. They are designed around squeezing people for money, nickel and diming their own audience, one loot box, one cosmetic, one battle pass at a time. And that alone is a red flag for anyone who actually cares about the health of gaming as a medium. Pokémon Unite perfectly represents this problem. Instead of being a celebration of Pokémon, instead of being a way to expand the competitive side of the franchise into a new genre, it became a storefront disguised as a game. A service set up with an expiration date, a monetization trap first and a hobby second. And now that Belgium and the Netherlands have laws that challenge predatory monetization, which is good, suddenly Pokémon Unite packs its bags and leaves, abandoning the exact players who supported it. That alone tells you everything. The microtransactions were more important to the business model than the game itself. Players in those regions didn't just lose servers access, they lost every single thing they've ever invested into the game. All the purchases, Pokemon license, all the battle passes, all the cosmetics, all the boosters, all the money that was charged for tiny digital items that only existed on a server someone else controlled. And that's the part that stings the most. The people who poured hundreds of hours into progressing and forming teams now just watch their purchases vanish overnight. We always hear mobile gaming defenders say it's just how free-to-play models work. No, it's how companies exploit that model. Because if the developers truly valued the player's base, they would rework systems, redesign currencies, or localize versions to comply with rules. They would keep the game alive for the communities that built them up. But in this case, compliance meant removing the predatory cash systems that was way too much for them. So they shut the door instead. This is the core of the problem with digital-only ownership. You never really own anything. The illusion of ownership disappears the second a company decides a region is no longer worth supporting. The moment the servers go down, everything vanishes. And if you try to speak up, you're told that you agreed to the terms of service. That tiny paragraph nobody reads. This isn't a consumer-friendly system. It's a system designed to benefit corporations at the expense of their own communities. And what hurts for those players in Belgium and the Netherlands is they supported this game. 8 million new users joined this year alone. Growth was there, engagement was there. The game was moving forward, but financial growth doesn't matter if it doesn't align with aggressive monetization. That's the business philosophy they operate on. Pokemon Unite strengthened its loot box tactics over time. Prices went up, drop rates were lowered, players were encouraged to gamble to unlock characters or cosmetics. They leaned heavier and heavier into exact practices these countries outlawed. And because those laws told them you can't do that, the game is being pulled right out from under the fans. Think about how insulting that is. First, players are the revenue source, then the moment those same players are protected by their governments, the company acts like they're somehow the problem and leaves. This isn't a shutdown due to the lack of interest. This is a punishment for daring to say we don't want gambling disguised as a children's game. And when this happens once, it won't stop there. This sets a precedent. There will be more countries, more regulations, more shutdowns, more lost purchases. Every single digital-only live service title faces this exact risk. No physical disc to keep, no local mode to preserve, no guarantee of long-term access, and nothing. This moment should wake up a lot of gamers who continue to ignore how fragile digital collections really are. People proudly stack libraries of skins and cosmetics and digital currencies, but one day the servers turn off and suddenly those libraries never existed. The Pokemon Unite shutdown highlights a bigger fight that gamers need to take seriously. Either companies evolve and stop predatory monetization, or digital gaming will continue to collapse under its own greed. And that's why I refuse to support this model. I don't play mobile games. I don't support predatory spending hooks, because all it takes is one corporate decision and your investment is gone forever. Now let's shift into what Nintendo is doing with Bandai Namco Studios Singapore, because this move reveals a very different problem in the industry. One of consolidation, control, and strategic protectivism of powerful intellectual properties. Nintendo acquiring this studio is not just some casual business expansion. This isn't them picking up a random team to add to their portfolio. This particular studio helped co-develop Splatoon 3 and led to the development of new Pokemon Snap. These are not minor roles, and that's not including the other third-party IPs that this studio owns. These developers have been directly responsible for keeping major Nintendo franchises active during some of the busiest years of the Switch. Now Nintendo is pulling them fully into the company and rebranding them under the new Nintendo name. Why does this matter? Because Nintendo historically avoids big acquisitions unless a specific franchise is at stake. They want to protect Splatoon the way they once failed to protect Rare. When they let Rare slip through their hands in 2002, a major pillar of their first-party library vanished overnight, and Nintendo has clearly learned from that mistake. They know that Splatoon is one of their biggest modern franchises, and they're not letting any part of its development sit in a place where another company could take it away. This move expands Nintendo's internal development power in Asia at a crucial moment. The transition into the Switch 2 generation, they're gearing up for massive demand and a packed release schedule. They need teams that are already familiar with their engines, their workflow, and their biggest IP. So instead of just outsourcing work, they are consolidating control. But this also ties into the bigger first-party studio arms race happening right now. Sony has stacked over 20 internal studios. Microsoft swallowed one of the biggest third-party publishers on the planet when they took Activision Blizzard. Nintendo cannot afford to sit still, especially as gaming becomes more platform locked and exclusive driven. Acquiring Bandai Namco Singapore Studios ensures Nintendo keeps Splatoon evolving long term without depending on anyone else's permission. And with Splatoon Raiders likely shaping up for the Switch 2, Nintendo wants that development pipeline secured. Another layer to this move is talent preservation. Development teams in Asia are becoming more critical as the industry grows, and Nintendo knows that losing a partner like this could have ripple effects across multiple IPs. They have already seen what happens when they allow the competition to swoop in. This time, they are not taking that chance. And while people might celebrate Nintendo strengthening its internal capabilities, this is also a sign that gaming is becoming more centralized than ever. Fewer independent studios, fewer creative freedoms, more franchises locked behind unbreakable first-party walls. The future of gaming is being fought through licensing, staffing, and perpetuity expertise, and Nintendo is quietly building a fortress around its most valuable franchises. On one hand, this means more stability for Splatoon, more guaranteed output for Switch 2, more consistency across IP, but on the other hand, it means less diversity of creative influence, fewer risks, and tighter corporate control over what gets made, how it gets made, and who is allowed to make it. Nintendo does not make acquisitions lightly. When they absorb a studio, their intention is to fully internalize every talent, every capability of that team. So when Singapore officially becomes Nintendo Studios Singapore in 2026, the world will see Nintendo tightening its grips on its creative future even stronger than before. And in the same breath that we talk about digital games evaporating without warning, we now look at a major corporations aggressively locking down assets and talent, all to secure control over the next era of this industry. We are now entering a generation where the biggest companies will dictate more than ever how long games live, which regions have access, what monetization is enforced, and who gets left behind. Consumers are spectators unless they start recognizing what's at stake. Pokémon Unite shows us how easily players can lose everything. Nintendo's acquisition shows how aggressively corporations are preparing for their own futures, not necessarily ours. The industry is changing fast, and if gamers don't start pushing back against corporate decisions that strip ownership, remove access, and prioritize revenue over community, then everything we love about gaming will continue to be reshaped without our voices or approval. And that's it for the video. If you truly enjoyed it, do me a favor and hit the like like button, hit the hype button, share it around, and make sure you're subscribed. I post a long video every day, and I also go live Monday morning at 5 a.m. Pacific time, where I react to the saltiest fanboys around. And also, make sure you subscribe because I'm really trying to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I really need your help. If you really want to support the channel, consider becoming a member. It's only $1 a month. You'll get special badges, custom emotes, and of course your name shouted at the end of every video. And once that list gets too long, don't worry, I will turn it into a full-on credit roll so everybody gets their chance to shine. Also, don't forget to check out the merch if you want to rep the Vigilante Fire. And as always, until next time guys, stay vigilant. And now it's time to read off the members of the channel. We got Koros Objective, Maximilian Pegasus 88, Mad Fox 94, Dr. Downvote, Oh No It's Justin, Naria, Camaro 28Z, Piplup Stars Commander, J Wesby 65, Geezer Noob, Dustin 360, TPG 25153, Stephen Ramey 1644, Matthew Buckley 8356, Johnny Bones Jones, Trigger is Groot 82, Ericasia, Casaria 7313, Vetful Zexel, A1K300, Applicate Web, Eden Force, Pokefan 603, Starlight Mirror, Crystal Woe, Phoenix Freestar, The More Incredible Grimlock, Ninja Pat 1514, T-Man the Cool, Curia Lunar, Ronin Reef 90, Shadow Dragons, Brandon Alex, Mr. Krabs, Back Edge, Nightfall Hero Academy, Vega Bars, Switch Addiction, Kiwi Claria. Thank you so much for becoming part of the crew.
You can cry in the comments, but you won't survive. Like and subscribe if you feel that vibe. We're